Most financial pain comes from small, repeated decisions, not from one dramatic mistake. That is good news, because small, repeated decisions are exactly what you can change. Here are the habits that move your life without a big personality overhaul. Just practical actions you can start today, and a little discipline to repeat them. Action creates momentum, and momentum makes the next action easier. One habit sits at the top because everything else depends on it. Match your money with your priorities. For a long time, I spent money on things that did not really matter to me. I bought clothes I barely wore because I thought I was supposed to. I went out for expensive dinners because everyone else was doing it. When your money reflects your values, you stop chasing status and you start buying time. I paid for things I hardly used, then wondered why my bank account never felt quiet. That is not a budgeting problem. That's a values problem. If you cut what you do not value, you stop fighting yourself. Money is not only math, money is a mirror. The fastest way to feel richer is to stop buying things you do not even remember a week later. If you want a fast reality check, look for purchases that were trying to solve an emotional problem. Stress spending, boredom spending, and comparison spending all feel small in the moment. Then they quietly accumulate. When you notice those patterns, you are not failing. You are collecting data. Data is what lets you adjust without drama. If your spending doesn't reflect what you actually care about, you will feel broke even at a good income. Here is a simple exercise that works. Pick the 3 things you genuinely want your life to be built around. Be specific. If you say you value health, your money should support sleep, food that helps you, and habits that reduce stress, not the opposite. If you say you value freedom, your money should reduce fixed obligations, because obligations are what remove options. If you say you value family, your money should make time and stability easier, not harder. It might be freedom, it might be health, it might be family, it might be learning. Then look at the last 30 days of spending and ask one honest question. Did my money serve those priorities, or did it serve my impulses? If you do this once, you will find obvious leaks, not tiny leaks, obvious ones, subscriptions you forgot. Buying time is more practical than buying things, because time is what lets you build skills, relationships, and health. Convenient spending you do when you are stressed. Little purchases you do because the day was hard. When you align spending with priorities, you are not depriving yourself. You are also reducing the chance that you will feel resentful later. Resentment is a quiet enemy of consistency. If your plan feels like punishment, you will eventually rebel against it. If your plan feels like ownership, you will protect it. You are choosing. That choice is the beginning of financial literacy. It is also the beginning of peace. Another habit is simple, and it is a game changer. Do a monthly money date. Once a month, block out 30 minutes in your calendar. Just you, your laptop, and your bank statements. No distractions, no phone. What matters is not to judge yourself. What matters is to see reality clearly, like an operator reviewing a business. Owners do not guess what happened. They look. Then they decide what to do next with better information. That is the spirit of a money date. 1 lever per month beats 10 levers per week. During this time, I focus on 3 things. I look back at my spending from the last 30 days and ask, where did the money actually go? I look for patterns. I look for surprises. I look for the little decisions that add up. A single coffee is not the issue. A habit you repeat without noticing is the issue. The goal is to turn unconscious spending into conscious spending. On-spending is conscious. You can choose it, cut it, or replace it. Then I check in on progress toward my financial goals. Not 10 goals, just the goals that matter most. Right now, then I do the most important part. Budget is not a punishment. A budget is simply your priorities written down in numbers. I set one focus for the next month. A monthly review turns guessing into decision. Making one, not 10. Not a massive overhaul. One achievable focus that I can repeat for the next 30 days. A single focus is powerful because it gives you a clear win. Wins make you more willing. Keeping going is how you get the long-term result. It could be saving an extra $200 this month. It could be increasing investing by 1%. It could be reducing spend on takeout by 20%. Known thing, because when you try to change everything at once, you get overwhelmed and you change nothing. A single focus keeps your brain from juggling multiple financial goals and dropping all of them. It gives you a target to hit. And when you hit targets consistently, you build trust with yourself. That trust compounds too. Next, I'd like you to respect a simple truth about human nature. If something is boring, most people will not do it consistently. If you do not decide where your money goes, the world will decide for you, and the world is very good at spending your money. That is not a character flaw. That is a design flaw. So automate the basics. Think of it like removing friction from good behavior and adding friction to bad behavior. If saving requires self-control, you will lose on a tired day. If saving is automatic, you win even on a tired day. Automate. Automate. Automate everything recurring. Manually transferring money into savings every month is boring. Manually remembering bills is boring. Manually staying on top of subscriptions is boring. And when life gets busy, boring things do not happen. So you want your fixed expenses to leave automatically after payday. You want money to move automatically from your main account into a separate savings account every month. Treat savings like a bill you pay yourself. If it helps, set it to happen the day after payday, before you have a chance to negotiate with yourself. The order matters because leftover money rarely exists. You want recurring subscriptions for basic essentials to run without mental effort. Before I automated, I had great intentions, then life would happen. And by the end of the month, there was nothing left to save. Automation removes willpower from the equation. You make the decision once, you build the system once, and then the system keeps working. If saving happens first, spending naturally fits what is left. It also frees up mental space. You are not constantly thinking, did I transfer the money? Did I pay the bill? What is coming up next? Start small, automate. One thing this week. Automation protects you from tired decisions. Then add another. That is how you build a system that supports you when motivation disappears. A system is what lets compounding do its job. Automation protects you from tired decisions. People think compounding is only about markets. Low costs are one of the few advantages you can guarantee. It is also about removing mistakes you would otherwise repeat. A good system reduces the number of decisions you have to make when you are busy or emotional. Now let us talk about investing. Start investing with small amounts early on. The simplest plan is often the one you can hold through volatility. The monthly check-in is like looking at the scoreboard. You cannot improve what you refuse to measure. Starting early with what you can is one of the biggest drivers of long-term wealth there is. The earlier you begin, the more time does the heavy lifting for you. A lot of people wait for the perfect moment and the perfect amount. Perfection is expensive. It delays action and it steals time. The goal is not to be clever. The goal is to be consistent. Start with low-cost index funds that track entire markets. That approach is humble, and humility is useful in investing. You do not have to predict the next headline. You just have to keep owning productive assets over time. When the market is volatile, remember you are buying future earnings at changing prices. In plain terms, that means you are buying a broad slice of productive businesses without paying extra for somebody to tell you a story. It is hard to go wrong when you keep costs low and diversification high. If you are new, don't let the details become an excuse to stay on the sidelines. Pick a simple, low-cost approach and begin. Your first job is getting money invested. Your second job is staying invested. Most damage comes from behavior, not from the market. Time does the heavy lifting when behavior stays steady. People sell after fear. Then they wait for certainty. And certainty is always expensive. A simple plan that you can stick to beats a clever plan you abandon. The third job is not sabotaging yourself with panic decisions. Small amounts, repeated, can become something very large over time. That's how compounding actually shows up in real life. Here is a routine that separates people who watch financial content from people who build financial results. Take one learning and implement it the same day. Whenever you watch a video, read an article, or listen to a podcast about money, choose one actionable thing and do it before the day ends. Speed matters because motivation fades. The gap between learning and doing is where most people lose. Close the gap even with a tiny action, and you become the kind of person who executes. If you learn about a new savings account with a better interest rate, open the account that day. People avoid looking because they fear shame. Replace shame with curiosity, and you will improve faster. If you hear a budgeting technique that fits your style, set it up that evening. If someone mentions an investment strategy, spend 20 minutes that day researching it and deciding if it fits your situation. Most folks consume financial content for months, sometimes years, and nothing changes. They feel productive because they nod along. But information without execution is entertainment. When you force yourself to implement one thing immediately, you build momentum. Action creates momentum, and momentum makes the next action easier. Progress stops being theoretical. It becomes real. Real progress looks boring from the outside. It is just small actions repeated until they stop feeling hard. That boredom is a sign you built a system instead of chasing a mood. It doesn't have to be massive. It can be checking your credit score today. The gap between learning and doing is where most dreams die. It can be updating your CV today, because that is an investment in future earnings. Time does the heavy lifting when behavior stays steady. It can be increasing your workplace pension contributions by 1%. Small actions done consistently are what create outrageous financial literacy. Not big promises, not one-time bursts. Consistency, another routine, is uncomfortable at first, which is exactly why it works. Do not hide away from speaking about money. I used to think money was too private to discuss. It felt awkward, even with people I trusted. But here is the reality. Automation is also protection. When the system is built, a busy week doesn't destroy your progress. About 62% of Americans don't talk about money with family or friends, yet about 66% believe candid conversations about money are key to achieving financial freedom and building generational wealth. People want the benefit of shared knowledge without the discomfort of sharing questions. You cannot have it both ways. If you want better information, you have to be willing to ask. That is a massive disconnect. We know it matters. We avoid it anyway. So I pushed past the discomfort. I started having real conversations with people I trust, not in a showy way, not in a competitive way, in a learning, focused, collaborative way. Ask about the process, not the status. Ask what someone wishes they did earlier. Ask what mistake cost them the most time or money. Those answers are worth more than any motivational quote. I would ask friends what they are investing in. I would talk with a partner about goals and how we are working toward them. I would have honest conversations at work about how compensation compares, because information is leverage. You'll be surprised how open people can be when you approach it with respect and you are willing to share in return. Everyone has questions. Everyone has made mistakes. Everyone wants to learn. The next time you are with a friend, try a casual opener. Say, I have been thinking about my budget lately. How do you manage yours? Or ask what app they use. Starting small is not a weakness. Starting small is how you build a pattern that survives stress. You don't have to share exact numbers if that feels uncomfortable. Just start the conversation. The more you talk about money, the less scary it feels, and the faster you learn from other people's strategies and mistakes. You also learn what is normal and what is not. You learn what fees people pay, what interest rates they get, and what habits actually work. That reduces the chance you will be misled by confident strangers online. Learning faster is another form of compounding. Now we get to a mindset shift that sits underneath everything else. Reframe your mind for long-term gratification. We live in a world built for instant gratification. You want something, you can order it now. You are hungry, food shows up in 20 minutes. You are bored, entertainment is endless. Building wealth is the opposite. Financial success is the long game. The long game is not glamorous. It is repeating good choices while everyone else chases quick wins. It is choosing the plan you can live with, not the plan that looks impressive on social media. It is making choices today that your future self will thank you for in 5, 10, and 20 years. When I first started investing, it was hard to watch money leave my account every month. My brain wanted to spend it now. It wanted a reward today. So I had to reframe delayed gratification. When you invest early, you are not betting on 1 year. You are building a machine that runs for decades. I stopped seeing it as a sacrifice. I started seeing it as a gift to my future self. Every dollar I invest now is buying future freedom, future options, and future security. Every time I skip an impulse purchase and save instead, I am paying my future self. Short-term comfort is expensive when it steals long-term options. A trick that helps is making the future feel real. Put it on paper. Write down what you want your days to look like, what you want your health to feel like, and what you want your work to be. Then ask which purchases are moving you toward that picture and which ones are stealing from it. Visualize your future self in a practical way, not as a vague fantasy. Think about the life you want in 5 years and 10 years. Ask what that version of you needs from you today. When you do that, saying no in the short term stops feeling like deprivation. It starts feeling like self-respect long-term gratification is not suffering now to enjoy later. It is recognizing that your future self is as real as your present self. Delayed gratification becomes easier when you can name what you are buying: freedom. A financially literate person treats both with care. Here is a habit that feels like spending, but it is often investing. The simplest plan is often the one you can hold through volatility. Spend money on a skill. Think of skills as engines. When you buy back time, you buy space to think. And thinking is a huge advantage. A purchase that creates an engine can be smarter than a purchase that creates a moment. Moments are fine, but engines are what change your life. For a long time, I was hesitant to spend on learning beyond what felt necessary. I would tell myself, why pay for a course when I can consume free content and figure it out? The real secret is not timing the market. The real secret is timing the market with low costs and steady behavior. Free information is wonderful, but free information often comes with a hidden cost. It is scattered, it is inconsistent, and it can take you longer to put into practice. Sometimes paying is not about the information itself. It is about structure, feedback, and speed. But time is not free, and speed matters when you are trying to build a better life. The best investment you can make is not always a stock, not always property. Often it is yourself, your skills, your knowledge, your capabilities for a time. I have a problem in a business workflow that felt like an endless admin loop. Invoices would come in, skills turn effort into leverage, and leverage turns ordinary time into outsized results. Dates had to be checked, amounts had to be extracted, descriptions had to be added. Then everything had to be tracked so nothing slipped. I could have spent weeks trying to patch it together, and I would have still been stuck. Instead, I hired a specialist to build a simple AI-assisted process. Within a week, the system could collect invoices, scan them, pull dates, amounts, and descriptions, and place everything into a spreadsheet with a clear checkbox when a payment was completed. The headache was gone. That is what you are buying when you invest in capability. You are buying visibility, speed, and fewer repeated mistakes. Those benefits keep paying you long after the credit card charge is forgotten. The time came back. That is the real payoff of skills and expertise. When you buy back time, you buy space to think, and thinking is a huge advantage. They buy back time, and time is what lets you focus on the work that actually moves the needle. Every skill you develop can increase your earning power for years. If you spend $500 on learning a skill that helps you earn an extra $1,000 a year, that is not an expense. That is a 200% return in year one, and then it can keep compounding. I have spent money on courses that made me better at writing, better at communicating, better at building and running a business. Some increased income directly, others improved judgment, which is just as valuable. It does not have to be expensive. Sometimes it is a book that changes how you think. Sometimes it is a $39 online course that shifts your approach. Sometimes it is paying someone for an hour to teach one specific skill you need right now. The key is intention. Do not buy randomly and then never finish. Pick skills that matter for where you want. Pick skills that genuinely move the needle for your career, your business, and your growth. My rule is simple. A financially literate person can explain the purpose of a purchase before they make it. If you cannot explain the purpose, it is probably entertainment, and you should treat it like entertainment. There is nothing wrong with entertainment, as long as you do not confuse it with investment. Time does the heavy lifting when behavior stays steady. I am willing to spend money on learning when I can clearly articulate how the skill will benefit me. If I cannot explain it, I don't buy it. At the end of the day, markets can drop, economies can slow down, companies can fail. But the skills you build and the judgment you develop are yours to keep. That is why investing in yourself is so powerful. It is one asset nobody can take away. Those are practical habits you can start today to improve your financial literacy. None of them require perfection. If you want a short version, it is this. Pick one habit and make it automatic. Then add the next habit. That is how you turn good intentions into a system. And a system is how compounding finally gets enough time to work. Do one action today. Your future self will feel the difference.